right, Shabbat Shalom, welcome back. And now let us enter into our Torah service. But before we go there, so we can hear the word of the living God, let us recite the Ki Mitzion. Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Udevar Yahweh Mi Yerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Leomo Israel Bikadushato. And the Torah will go forth from Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Blessed be he who in his holiness gave the Torah to his people Israel. Amen and amen. Again, Shabbat Shalom, one and all. I ask and pray that Yahweh will surely bless today's message, and that he would even bless those who will hear his word as well. Because I believe that even through this message and I hope and pray that we'll be challenged to do what Yahweh our God says, and for us to do what we know to do, which is right. I have a love for the body of Messiah, and I have a great concern for the body of Messiah as well. So with that said, the title of this message is The Stage Has Been Set. That is, the stage has been set. We are living in a world, I say, of unprecedented times. I say unprecedented because technology and the use thereof has brought us to unimaginable places. Places that the average man and woman did not ever conceive of happening. I don't know about you, but the things we have today, these things never even entered into my mind. The things that we can do, the vehicles we particularly drive, because whether you know it, even our cars are just a big giant computer. We either drive up and down the road, this thing monitors. They even got cars now that drive themselves, Miss Carol. Yes, and when you see one driving by itself, get out of the way. You know, when I was a child, the thought of possessing and using a phone anywhere at any time was unthought of. You know what I'm saying? I remember before the push button phones came out, we had one phone in our house, one, Miss Carol, and it was one of them rotary ones. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm talking about, those who are older. Oh, yes. And if you wanted some privacy, we had, either you would stretch that cord to go to another room, or you buy a big, giant, long one, and you got this big trail of cord follow you wherever. You know what I'm talking about. You sitting in the closet, talking on the phone, got this cord stretched across the room. And hopefully nobody comes down and they trip right over that thing. You know what I'm saying. I could not even imagine at that time ever owning a cell phone. But here we are. Listen to this, even our children now have cell phones. See what I'm saying? Times have changed. And not only do these devices make wireless calls, you don't even got to be connected to the doggone wall anymore. But now they double as mini computers to boot. Can you imagine that? This little phone in your hand is a computer, as they would say in French. A computer. You know, I remember in high school taking this computer class. You know I don't seem that old, but I got a little age underneath me. You know, the computer that we use and was learning to program on, this thing was rather large, to be honest. This computer that we were using, it took up this room we were in was a rather large room, and it took up a good portion of that room. This is how big this thing, it was massive. It was long and it was tall. And in order to program this thing, we would have to punch holes in this card, like a card punch. There, it would be like ones and zeros. And so you poked a hole here and poked a hole there. And then you would feed it into this computer. And it told then the computer what to do. It told it to do this, it told it to do that, to calculate this, to calculate that. It was rather basic for the time, but I was amazed. I was enthralled, like, how can this thing actually work and read what we're putting on these cards? And then the little light starts blinking and flashing, and then it starts to tabulate and to calculate. And I thought that was so amazing. Today, that kind of computer is antiquated. That antiquated computer plus many more like it is now on our cell phones. That big piece of hunk of junk that we took cards to program now is on our little teeny cell phones. And then our little teeny cell phones now put those big giant computers to shame. You see how far we've come. This is where technology has brought us and where it shall take us in the future. There is no limits, no bounds to where we can go with technology. And because of the advent of the internet, we as a society are closer today than ever before, brothers and sisters. The space that used to keep us apart from each other has now shrunk to almost nothing. For instance, if one wanted to make a transatlantic crossing from Europe to the United States before the invention or the advent of flight, one would have to travel by ship. Now, it is said that the Mayflower, the English ship that brought or transported the Pilgrims to the United States or the New World in 1620, listen, took 10 weeks to make the sea crossing. In 1958, it took a jet aircraft making that same transatlantic flight 10 hours and 20 minutes. Today, with the internet, or for those who are older, the interweb, it takes seconds to connect one side of the world with another. This is how amazing this technology is. It has shrunk the world, where I can get on the interweb and I can talk to somebody all across the world as though they're standing right in the same room with me. And because of the advancement of technology, the world, the vast distance that has separated us or that has kept us separate has shrunk considerably. This in and of itself is a good thing. Now, if you got relatives that you ain't seen a long time and you may want to see them, you can just click on the internet and say, hey, baby, I miss you. Or those of you who no longer want to see your relatives across the sea. When they want to do FaceTime, you just put a little, I'm busy. Or you just don't answer. You know how it is. Nobody ever does that now, do they? When somebody calls them, they just don't answer or put it on silent. Oh, no. Again, families that were unable to see and speak to one another because of the vast distance that occurred between them can now communicate with each other instantly. Additionally, We can see in lifetime. Now, this is the most amazing thing. We can see in lifetime events occurring all over the world. If I want, I can just click on the internet and I can see what's happening right now in the city of Jerusalem. I can see cars going up and down the expressway. I can see people walking, hear me now, literally walking down the streets of Jerusalem. This is how amazing technology has done. No longer are we left in the dark as to what is happening on the other side of the world. We can see and experience these events just as those individuals experience them who are actually there. This, as I say, is a good thing and should be embraced by all with wholehearted enthusiasm. It excites me that I can go anywhere and I can look upon various places all around the world. I can say, I've never visited this place. All I gotta do is click on the button, baby, and I'm there. Have you ever been to Ireland? No, but wait, I'll be right there. Click, I'm in Ireland. And if you want to take me with you on all of your trips, all you gotta do is cut your cell phone on and say, look at the sheep. Look at the pub. Look at the potato field. And I'm with you traveling through Ireland. Do you see how wonderful technology is? But in saying that, with this wonderful advancement of technology also comes a downside. And that downside being that it is the vehicle that people can abuse. And not only can they abuse it, listen, it is the vehicle that will be used to fulfill biblical prophecy that portends the time of great judgment and the time of the end. In other words, not only can it be used box in pictographs. Thank you, Al Gore. It's a great invention. But like I said, it has a downside. And the anti-Messiah, who is our enemy, he will also Now, this is people who are not just in Jerusalem, hear me now, but all over the world. They'll be able to see these two great men the message of Jerusalem He got them. And then the scripture says, it is then that those who rejoice will then experience great dread. Why? Because the scripture says that they will see the two witnesses get up from that dead body, from being dead. They will be resurrected, and then they will themselves, like Messiah Yeshua did, float in the heavens towards the place where Yahweh glory resides. It says all the world will see. And I believe the world will not only see this event, but many more things occurring that will terrify them live via the internet. Because of the internet, they will see these two great men, these two witnesses rise up and go back to heaven. This is the internet. This is technology. This is where we are. You see, even the internet, this great technology, will be used in the last days, at the end of time. And what is that telling you? How close we are. Hear me now, how close we are to those days being fulfilled. Are you with me? Now, concerning the time that the scriptures refers to as Jacob's trouble, it says that it will be a time of terror and great sorrow that many will not only experience, but also be able to see live and in color like Memorex. In Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 4 through 7, the scripture prophesies this. He says, these are the words Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and Yehudah. That is the northern and the southern kingdom, the two houses of Israel. Here is what Yahweh says. We have heard a cry of terror, of fear, and not of peace. Ask now and see, can men give birth to children? Why then do I see all the men with their hands on their stomachs like women in labor? That is labor pains. This is a reference to the end. With every face turned pale. And then verse 7 says, how dreadful that day will be. There has never been one like it. A time of trouble for Yaakov or Jacob. But then he makes us a promise. He says, but out of it, Jacob will be saved. In other words, his people shall be delivered, even though it shall be a time like never before on the face of this earth. This is exactly what Messiah Yeshua said in Matthew chapter 24. A day is coming like no other day in the history of this world. A day of terror, a day of dark clouds, and a day of great fear. Every single day that we wake up, every single day we move closer to the time when these events will take place. People don't realize what's occurring. They don't realize what is happening. Every single day that you wake up, you are one day closer to this occurring. This dreadful day. See, people don't look at it like that. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to wake up. I got this great party plan. I got this vacation plan, sister. Let me tell you what. I got me some shorts. Woo, honey. I can't wait to put them on and put my feet in the sand on the beach. But there truly is no guarantee that my toes will be able to feel the sand, because any day, the day that Yahweh has said, can take place. Hear me now, because of technology and its continued rapid advancement, the stage for all things to take place during the time of Jacob's trouble, or as we know, the tribulation period, as outlined in the scripture, is being set. Things are being put into place. People are positioning themselves. We sometimes are so oblivious of what is happening behind the scenes. The stage is being set, and we go about our everyday life as though everything's is going to stay the same and everything's hunky-dory, but things are being set up. Now, I say this not to make you afraid when you see things happen, but I say these things simply to remind us and to warn us. We must be aware of the times that we are living in so that you and I might prepare ourselves for what is taking place and what is about to take place in the future. We must be prepared. You know how the saying goes, ready or not, here I come. It doesn't matter if you're ready. It doesn't matter if you ain't ready. It does not matter. It's going to happen. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. No prayer we can pray that will halt it. It is coming, and it will come on time. It's coming, Miss Carol. It's coming, Mother. It won't take a hiatus because you got your plans. Listen to me. I got this dream of start my own business. You know, I got this idea of this great invention. All I need is just a little bit more time and I'll get it in production. Who's to say? Who's to say? If you will have time or not. Listen, if we make the right decisions now when things are somewhat mild, our practices or our normal habits of doing things will condition us to make the right decision when things become much more turbulent. In other words, as we do things on our daily basis, because we are always prepared, always making ourselves ready, when the crap hits the fan, excuse my French, or was that Swahili? I forget. Then we'll do exactly the same thing when turbulent time comes. Yeshua gave us a principle. He says that if you are faithful over a few things, he says, then you'll be faithful over what? Much. Because you're the same person. And if you are steady and calm and prepared when things are good, because you're preparing for the end, when things get bad, you continue to do what you've always done. Are you following me? When people panic, those who are unprepared usually make rash and irrational decisions, which result in them then making the what? Wrong decision. When you're panicked, it's like, have you ever gone up to somebody's house or maybe just walking down the street and a dog appears out of nowhere and starts running towards you? And then your heart skips a beat. And then there's this rush of adrenaline that flows through your body. And your mind is telling your feet, get to moving, baby. Because a dog is on your tail. Do you know the worst thing you can do is run? That's the worst thing you can do. But when you panic, all you got to do is, I got to get out of here. And you take flight. That's the wrong decision because you panic, because you weren't prepared. Are you following me? Now me, when I usually on my route, and I'm always looking out for dogs. Always. Always. I always keep a little something in this pocket. And my wife bought me something or advised me to buy something to keep in this pocket. Oh yeah, I do. I remember I was across the street delivering this one package. And I turned around and I saw this big Rottweiler. He was across the street and he was running towards me and barking and growling. And I looked and I stopped. I didn't run. No better. Prepared. And I stood my ground. I was like one of those boxers. I kind of put my foot in the ground, make sure that I had. Hey, he's almost at the edge of his yard. Usually most dogs stop when they get to the edge of the yard. So I was just watching. And in the meantime, I reached in my pocket and I put up my knife and opened the blade. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I put it in my strong hand. Woo! That's my left hand, if you want to know. And I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the dog to come. And next thing I know, he didn't stop at the end of the yard. He crossed the street. Barking and growling. And for some reason, you know what? I wasn't afraid. I was ready to throw down. I was going to be like David. I was going to slay me a Rottweiler that day. Woo! Watching him very closely. Then he stopped, but then he started again. He was getting closer, and I just kind of got ready. I got ready. I was going to do business, me or the dog. All of a sudden, it got so close to me, then it stopped. For anything to happen. I didn't panic. I didn't panic. For some reason, I felt so calm because in my mind, I would rehearse these things. That this is what I would do. This is what I would do if a dog comes. This is what I would do. And I was doing exactly what I was saying because I was prepared. So when things go sideways, those who are informed and have prepared themselves for that day will do differently than those who are unprepared. They will be calm, just like I was, and will resort to what they have prepared themselves for, which means there are no more practices of doing things, which is more than likely will help them make the right decision. Are you following me? Those who are unprepared will panic and do wrong. Those who are prepared themselves will be calm and do the right thing. Do you understand? This is what being prepared for the day. When the proverbial stuff hits the fan. The Apostle Paul, Rav Shaul, stated it this way in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3 through 6. He said this: when people are saying everything is so peaceful and secure, he says, then destruction will suddenly come upon them. The way labor pains, there it is again, the end of days, the tribulation, the time of Jacob's trouble will come upon a pregnant woman. And there is no way, he says, they will escape. In other words, this great day of judgment is coming. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. So he says that when people say everything is good, we're all at peace, we're all secure, he says, watch out. Verse 4, he says, but you, brothers, are not in the dark so that the day should take you by what? Surprise, like a thief. For you are all people who belong to the light, who belong to the day. He says, we don't belong to the night or the darkness. Verse 6, so let's not be asleep like the rest are. On the contrary, let us stay alert and let us stay sober. In other words, he is telling us to get prepared and stay on the ready. He is telling us. Because when you do so, when that day comes, you won't panic. You won't be alarmed. You won't throw your hands in the air like you just don't care and run around in a circle like your hair's on fire. What do we do? What do we do? Call Rabbi Mark. Don't call me. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? Woo! Call Rabbi Chummy. Yeah, he'll help you. Don't call me. Because me and my family, we're hunkering down, baby. We're hunkering down. Hear me now. The world, especially the nation of America, is being preconditioned, listen to me, to accept and to the world is changing and we don't see it. We don't recognize it. It is being set up for the end of days. Again, this world, especially America, we are being conditioned or preconditioned to accept and to abide by a form of totalitarian rule. Hence, globalism or this one world rule. Now, what do I mean by this? Through the use of the COVID pandemic, the people of the world, especially Americans, are being conditioned to accept and to live by dictates and liberties. Are you following me? Through the use of this virus, we are being set up. We are being conditioned to accept things, to accept dictates that we normally would reject. We are being conditioned to accept and live by dictates and rules that will severely curb our own individual freedoms and liberties. And many people, unfortunately, are okay with that. Globalists don't care how they achieve their goal, just as long as they do. They will use whatever form of government, whether that's Marxism, fascism, or whatever, to achieve their ultimate goal of totalitarianism. Now you may ask, what is totalitarianism? Listen, totalitarianism is a form of government where power is centralized in a person or in a party, which requires complete subservience of all the people. The Encyclopedia Britannica defines it this way. They said that it is a form of government that attempts to assert total control over the lives of its citizens. Now, isn't this what is happening today, where we are told what we can say and what we cannot say, lest we be canceled? If we don't say the right things, they'll pull you up. If I don't say the right things on the YouTube, the YouTuber, they'll pull me right off. I'll get like a note. Cannot show that no more. The words you use, the language you use were untrue, or whatever they may come up with. we will be canceled if we don't say the right things that they deem to be true. It could not be true, but what they deem to be true. They're trying to control our lives. What to believe as propaganda like transgenderism. It is being forced down our throats. It is. Some man dressing up like a woman in a wig, the big giant Adam's apple with the big hairy hands, and he's talking about, hey, honey. And we got to accept that person. Instead of calling that person he, we got to call it a she. We are being forced because they're controlling our lives with transgenderism. We're being forced to accept them that now transgender men can run in women and participate in women's sports. It is being forced down our throats. They are controlling us. Oh, good gracious. We are being told that homosexuality is good and right. It's all on our shows that we watch. We can't watch a show, whether on TV or whether on one of these paid channels or cable. It is everywhere. You can't escape it. It's on commercials. You're like, oh, good gracious, good night. You sitting down there with your soda and you're watching your show. Woo! All of a sudden, oh, shoot. And you see something like, oh, spoiled my appetite. You turn the channel, there it is again. There it is again. Well, doggone it, I'll just go on the Disney Plus. I'll be safe there. Ah, there it is too. Hallmark Channel, Life Channel. It's everywhere. It's probably out in space too. 2 Martians. Oh, good gracious. Institutional racism being forced down our throats also on a daily basis through the media and through TV programs. Our lives are being controlled, telling us what's right, what is wrong, what to think, what not to think. Schools and institutions and corporations are forcing and indoctrinating students and workers alike with this thing called critical race theory, where people who are white are taught to hate themselves simply because of the color of their skin. And many other things, just to name a few. You see, the government is controlling much gone. Totalitarianism is characterized by strong central life through what you buy, because you go to the store and you start buying stuff with can't do that, bro. This is not healthy for you. Here's what we want to get. We want you to buy fruits and vegetables. You say, but I don't like fruits and vegetables. You're going to buy fruits and vegetables or we're going to cut the money off. So you go to the black market and buy your Twinkies. Oh, yes, undercover. The guy standing on the corner in the raincoat. How many Twinkies do you want? Totalitarianism does not permit individual freedom. This is why the Constitution is being attacked as being racist, a racist document written by our racist founding fathers. The document that governs our nation to them must be destroyed because they don't want people enjoying individual freedom. No, baby. Traditional social institutions and organizations are discouraged and suppressed, making people more willing to be merged, they say, into a single unified movement. In other words, do you understand why the Democratic Party only really wants one party to govern the world? They want everybody to be a part of the Democratic Party. This is part of totalitarianism. Totalitarian states typically pursue, watch this, a special goal to the exclusion of all others, with all resources directed towards its attainment, regardless of cost. Doesn't that remind you of the New Green Deal? It doesn't matter what it costs, how many trillions, they don't care. They'll just keep printing money. It doesn't matter. They're after a goal, and it doesn't matter the cost to obtain it. We're going for it. And whatever might further the goal, it goes on to say, is supported. Hence racial strife, defunding the police, illegal immigration surge, supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and Antifa. Whatever furthers their goal, they support. That's why you don't hear the Democratic Party speaking out against BLM and Antifa as nightly they're protesting or raiding or rioting there in Portland. Not a word. Shh. Because it furthers their goal. And then it says, whatever might foil the goal, then it's rejected. Got to get that Trump out of office. He's in the way. You know, this is why the leftists and the Democratic Party is making everything about race. They believe that they can use racial strife between the masses to help them achieve their ultimate goal of gaining power and fundamentally changing America. No one likes being called a racist. So in order to avoid this stigma, or this shaming, many good white people and corporations acquiesce to the demands of these radical nut jobs, or they stay silent, which is essentially the same as giving one's consent to their demands. They don't fight back. Because if you fight back, you be deemed a racist. So I'm not a racist. That proves that you're a racist. You say you're not one. You don't support what we're doing over here. You're not aligned with us. You don't see eye to eye to us. You are racist. You know, I should get me a shirt made up. I'm a racist and I'm proud. And I should wear it all around. I should wear it all around town. Woo! Oh, yes. I should carry a white sheet in my back pocket. Just let it drag out there. Every day, little by little, our liberties and individual rights that we enjoy are being stripped away. With every deceptive speech and executive order by Joe Biden, with every restrictive legislative action by Congress, with every propaganda-laden program put out by the media, and with every indoctrinating course material taught by teachers and professors to our children in these schools, America is being systematically dismantled and transformed. The America that we once knew is not the America of today, and will not be the America of tomorrow. You know, I can look back over my childhood. You know, I can say in totality, I had a pretty darn good childhood. Really did. I enjoyed it. You know, everything didn't go quite right that I wanted. You know, no family's perfect, right? But I can look over my childhood and remember, man, the good old days. I enjoyed it. The 60s, the 70s were great. I love the 70s, and my wife knows that. 70s music, that is my era of music. Oh yes, I love the 70s. You think I'm kidding? I love the 70s. I love that easy rock, that easy listening music. Shoot. One of my favorite singers, you may think it's crazy, but I like some John Denver. Thank God I'm a country boy. Oh yeah, I like some John Denver. Because you know what, it just sends me to a place where, you know, the countryside is open. I can see the sun shining. I can see the clouds and the birds. I can see deer leaping across the fields. I can say that the America I grew up is surely not the America of today. To never be repeated again. You see, you and I are fighting back. We must fight back to this radical change that is occurring. And that fight that we will be waging is good. But unfortunately, our children, who will be the leaders of tomorrow, are being indoctrinated. Yeah, let's say that again. You know, we a halt to what's occurring. But I feel truly that this battle is lost. I really do. Because these have invaded our elementary schools, invaded our high schools, invaded our universities and colleges. And they have infected. Comes back, you don't even know. Who are you? Who are, and then they want to get all up in your face, stand up and confront you and say, and everything within you is, I'm going to hold back, Mark. Hold back. Because that righteous anger wants to take, that righteous anger, you feel it building up. What you say? You better go sit down. You look at your wife, she look back at you. Let's go out. Let's go get a little ice cream cone, because something murder is about to occur up in this house. Because these children, they go away to school and then they get indoctrinated with these crazy ideas, these beliefs, and then they want to come back and then they want to exercise their freedom. They want to just, you know what I mean? They want to tell you that you are wrong. Standing up in your house. This is my house. If you want to spout your crap, get out on the street and do all the hollering you doggone want, and give me my keys to my car. That's my car. And give me my car. Give me those shoes. Give me those darn socks. No, you can keep the drawers, but you get out of my house. But our children are the leaders of tomorrow. They don't think like us. They don't see things the way we see them. Our children have been radicalized and have become programmed to think that secularism and that government and that man has the answers to all of their problems. That's what they think now. God ain't going to help us. Who is God? Please, 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 please. You can't prove you can't prove he's alive. You can't prove he real. Doggone it, they can't prove he ain't real. I said, how did you get here? Was that a fluke? You know, they say some children are accidents. They say, baby, you really don't want to know that question, do you? Now, as I said earlier, these globalists are using the COVID pandemic with its restrictive mandates as the tool in which to achieve their ultimate goal. Therapeutics that actually were successful in treating the disease has been discredited by the experts and the media. This was done, listen, to persuade the people to accept to take the vaccine. The therapeutics, they won't work, they won't help you, Forget the experts and the scientists who did a study and said it will help. Nothing's going to help you except the vaccine. Mask mandates were universally issued throughout the world. When studies came forth demonstrating the ineffectiveness of masks in preventing the spread of the disease or protecting one from the disease, these studies and the scientists were quickly discredited and pulled off of social media. You can't find them. You try to click on them, it's like, this. Study after study after study. This again was done to persuade the masses that they must be afraid of the virus. Going. It has been reported, and all you got to do is do a Google search. Forget Google. Do a search of the internet. It has been reported, listen, that people in the age groups of 0 to 19 have a 99.997% chance of survival if they contract the COVID. Did you hear that figure? I ain't done. Let me go on. It also been reported that the age group of 20 to 49 has a 99.98% chance of recovering if they contract the COVID disease. Ages 50 to 69 years old have a 99.5%. 70 years of older and above have a 94.6% chance of recovery if they get the COVID without the vaccine. Nevertheless, of these incredibly high percentages, the world is being told that unless they get the vaccine, that they are at a greater chance of dying from the virus. And here's the startling thing. Even children are now being encouraged to get the vaccine. When 99.9999999% of them, if they get it, which is very slim chance, they'll recover. And now they are being encouraged to get the vaccine. You have to ask yourself, what's going on? You have to ask yourself, what's going on? Now it's true that people have died from the virus, and all their deaths, hear me now, are tragic. But with that said, it is reported, and you can look it up on the interweb again, it is reported that out of the 7.9 billion people in the world today, only 3,283,899 people have died from the virus out of 7.9 billion, almost 8 billion people, which makes the death rate from the virus, listen, less than 0.5% of the world's population. That is 0.00004 something. Again, not to minimize any death, because all deaths of a disease is tragic. But the number of people worldwide who have died from the virus is microscopic. Compared to the entire population of the world, it is infinitesimal. You can't even hardly see it. It's a dot, it's a blip on the screen. It's a grain of sand in the sea. More people die from auto accidents throughout this world. Hear me now. So we must ask ourselves the question, with the death rate so low and the survival rate so high, why are people and even our children, why are they being strongly advised to get the vaccine shot? What is going on? Now, if this wasn't bad enough, I'm almost done. Hanging with me now. If this wasn't bad enough, the mandate to have a vaccine passport is now being proposed or implemented by many countries, including Israel. Listen. And that's sad. Israel is requiring a vaccine passport. A vaccine passport is proof that a person has been immunized against the COVID-19 virus. Some countries are requiring that a person who wishes to enter their country prove that they have been vaccinated. In other words, they must possess this vaccine passport. You got to show them. Show me your papers. Papers. From a CNET Health and Wellness article entitled COVID-19 Vaccine Purports Will Play in a Part in Global Travel, they state this. They says you will likely need a shot to travel abroad this summer. The European Union plans to open for vaccinated visitors in June, and cruise lines will require inoculations. In other words, if you ain't got the vaccine and the passport, you ain't going on no cruise. Don't think you're going to go to Europe and see the sights, baby. They're going to say, well, you stay home. You ain't allowed in. The door is shut to you. Do you see what's going on? Even some businesses, listen, even some businesses are requiring vaccine passports just to go into their business or their stores. From a New York Post article entitled Airport Security App that is clear looks to score with U.S. vaccine passports. They write, over 60 U.S. stadiums, I won't be going to no football games. Hear me now. I wasn't going to go anyway because I'm protesting them. Doggone it. It says over 60 U.S. stadiums and other venues are deploying an app from Clear to verify people's COVID-19 status, placing the New York company known for its airport security fast lanes at the forefront of a national debate over vaccine passports. In other words, if you ain't got the passport, you can't go see the football game, soccer game, hockey game. If you ain't got the passport, you can't go to certain stores. Show me your passport. Sir, you can't come in here. You see? Do you see what's happening? I believe that the mandate to continue to wear masks, even though daily test cases for the viruses has plummeted, and the push to get everyone inoculated with the COVID vaccine shot is a prelude for something more major coming down the pike. In other words, we've been set up. Oh, yeah. Are you following me? What do I mean by this? I strongly believe that the powers that be impose the restrictive mandates from the COVID pandemic, that is mask wearing, economic shutdowns, and the vaccines, which were not based upon science, to see just how much the citizens of the world, especially those in the United States, would tolerate before they pushed back. It was a test case. Listen to me. Do not think for a moment that the release of this virus was not intentional. It wasn't an accident, baby. Trying to tell you that it came from some kind of wet market. Yeah, wet market inside the doggone lab. Then they says, Yang, open the door. It was purposeful. You understand what I'm saying? It was purposeful. To their pleasant surprise, these powers at be. To their pleasant surprise, the whole world then prostrated before them, capitulating to their will. We say, do this. Yes, master. We say, put the mask on and keep it on. Yes, master. Shut the economy down. Yes, master. You see, this is what we were in essence doing. They make mandates. They pump us full of fear. We capitulate. Yes, yes, yes. I must do this to save my life. Satan said this, skin for skin, a man will do anything to save his skin. A man will do anything to survive. A man will do anything to keep living. Because in their minds, once you're dead, party's over. As Dandy Don Meredith would say, turn out the lights, the party's over. You know what I'm talking about. Monday Night Football, Dandy Don Meredith. Because once you're dead, baby. You can't get up and say, well, I changed my mind. I will wear that mask. Yeah, give me the vaccine. Baby, it's too late. The lights are cut off. Lights went down in Georgia. Many from the religious community to the secular community willingly surrendered their liberties in response to a misinformed fear of the virus. Because of this false fear, the people readily accepted all sorts of restrictive measures mandated by those in leadership, with many of those same restrictions, listen to me, still in place almost 1.5 years later. Still there. The science says you can take them, if you've been vaccinated, they've said that you can take the mask off, baby. You see people walking around with masks. Listen to me. I see this man in our neighborhood walking around this big giant black dog. Got the mask all up here, walking by himself with the doggone dog. As though the virus is gonna, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Woo! CDC came out and talking about if you've been vaccinated, then you can be outside without a mask. You can be around other people who are vaccinated. But what do what did Joe Biden do? Got the mask on outside, inside. Probably in the bed with. Did you see Kamala Harris kiss her husband? And they both had a mask on. And they both been vaccinated. What sense does that? What sense does that? Oh, baby, you. Oh. Woo! I gotta move on. I'm running out of time. Now, all this was said to demonstrate how the people have been groomed and made ready through the use of fear of death to accept worldwide reaching mandates from the lawless one, that is anti-Messiah. You see, this was a test case. This was a test run. We've been set up. We've been groomed. We've been prepared. We've been preconditioned. Listen to what the scripture says about the lawless one in Revelation chapter 13. Give me about 2 minutes and I'm done. Verse 11 through 12 and 15 through 17, it says this. Then I saw another beast come up out of the earth. It had 2 horns like those of a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast. Verse 15, and it was allowed to cause anyone who would not worship the image of the beast to be put to death. Also, verse 16, it forces everyone, both great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead. 17, preventing anyone from buying or selling unless he has the mark, that is the name of the beast or the number of its name. I'll leave you with this. Could the next pandemic or something similar to it be the catalyst that forces the world's population to obey the restrictive mandates of the anti-Messiah? Is it possible that he could use this calamity to mandate that everyone get the next vaccine or the next treatment? To refuse the vaccine or the treatment is to be without the mandated passport. The vaccine passport today is on our cell phones, but tomorrow it could be on our right hand or on our forehead. Are you following me? It is also highly likely that the vaccine passport could bear his name or his number. Are you following me? Not having the passport would prevent you from buying or selling. You see how very similar what Yahweh said is very similar to what is occurring today? And if you're unable to buy or sell because you don't have the mark of the beast, his passport, this likely would result in many people dying because if you can't buy food, if you can't buy seeds to grow a garden because you ain't prepared yourself, you're gonna die, baby. Are you following me? Don't think for a moment that if you think, well, I'm gonna pay my house off. I don't care what you do. Listen to me. If you don't pay those property taxes, I don't care if you paid your mortgage off or not, they're gonna come get that house and kick you right off of it. In other words, you don't own that land. You stop paying them taxes, you're out. You're out. And if you can't, if you don't got this mark, if you don't got this passport or the mark of the beast, how are you gonna pay your taxes on your house? No buying or selling, remember? How are you gonna pay your taxes? You lose your house, you're gone, zippo. Answer, RV, baby. RV. On the road again. Can't wait, get back on the road again. Listen. Do you understand what all this means? The world stage has been set for the anti-Messiah and his forces to come. No one would have thought this virus would cause all of these crazy mandates. It never happened before. Do you understand? The stage has been set for the anti-Messiah to come. Whether you understand it or not or believe it or not, we are standing on the very threshold of prophetic fulfillment. The question is, are you ready? What have you done to prepare yourself? Remember, what you do today possibly is a precursor of what you will do tomorrow. If you capitulate today, more than likely, you will capitulate tomorrow. Are you following me? Yes. It's just that simple. What will you do when that day comes? How will you react? What will you decide? These are the questions that everyone in the body of Messiah must answer. What will you do? Because another situation is coming. Hear me as I'm breathing and talking to you. No one thought the COVID vaccine was coming, but it came. The next one is coming. The next situation is coming, where even more restrictive mandates will come down the line. Because they will say, this one is much more deadly than the COVID-19. It has killed much more people. And the only way to protect you and the people of this world is we must all be vaccinated. And so we are mandating everyone get vaccinated. Everyone. The question is, when you see the handwriting on the wall, what will you do? What will you decide? You can't put your head in the sand like an ostrich, baby. You can't do it. You're going to have to make a decision. Get informed. Watch as well as pray, as Yeshua says. And prepare yourself. Because it's coming. It's coming. If I can warn you and tell you, it is coming. Sooner rather than later. Father, we thank you for your love, your kindness, your grace, your mercy, and your goodness. We ask and pray, Father, that you would get us all on the right page, your page. As you promised, that when the time of Jacob's trouble comes, you promised that you would save Jacob out of the calamity. You promised. And we believe that. But you have also declared in your word that there shall be many martyrs who will lose their lives during this period as well. Many of your people. Nevertheless, I'm asking and praying that you give your people the strength, the courage to trust you, to move forward in you, to prepare themselves, to stay always on the ready, and to be courageous, to be fearless for what is coming. Let us not be unaware like those in the world where this day will take them like a thief in the night. Because we are children of the light. And because we are children of the light, we are ready and we will stay ready. And we will trust you even unto death. Please hear our prayer. Bless your people. Help them, strengthen them for that day that is coming. This we ask in Yeshua's name. Amen and amen. Amen. I pray and ask that the grace and mercy of our God be upon us all. I believe that this is the message that he gave me to give to you and to give to others. To be ready. To be ready. We shall recite the Aharon of benediction, and then this shall conclude our Shabbat service. Yevarichet Yahweh v'yismoreka. Yahweh pavanecha v'kuneka. Yisa Yahweh panav alecha v'yasem lecha. Shalom. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you. And may Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give to each of you his shalom. Amen. Be blessed, brothers and sisters. And may the power and the glory of our God be upon you always. In Yeshua's name, amen.